What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we always start this show by being transparent. There were no shows over the weekend. Last one was Friday, and it was a really good day. I know I won 7 out of 8, I believe it was in the association. So that was a really good one. Saturday, I played Houston first half. I got the early line, and it plummeted after the opener, and I lost. If you got a later line, you won. And then Sunday, NBA was not kind. I should have just stayed away yesterday. 0-3 NBA. I went 1-0 in college basketball and went 3-2 in NFL. So it was slightly backwards yesterday. But since we last talked, was some money made. Vino, good to be back with you. How's everything going?
Things are good, Skee. Let's see. Saturday. Well, first of all, I didn't play NBA Saturday or Sunday. I don't believe. Well, I think I might have played the Golden State. No, they played Chicago. I didn't have that game. So no NBA Saturday or Sunday. College hoop has been what's been hot lately. 14-6 last 20. Had a good day with that yesterday. NFL was a complete split. Too good, too bad. I'm involved tonight in this game between the Eagles and the Chargers. So we'll see if we can't go ahead and tilt the scales to a plus winning week in the NFL here. And now, of course, we have college bowl games upcoming too. So be a big time of year upcoming.
All right, Vino. Let's get to some of this NBA for today. That means first up, we are looking at Kings and Pacers. Opened up 3.5 for the Pacers, looks like 4. Total open 234. Not the most movement, 234.5. And as far as the injury report is concerned, let me actually refresh. You have Keegan Murray questionable, Dennis Schroeder questionable, Sabonis out. For this Pacers team, same 5 guys that are on there every single game are listed. Um, my first thought when I see both of these teams playing each other is I expect not a whole lot of defense. I expect faster pace than what I'm looking at from these last 5 pace numbers. The Pacers are down to 24th, and that's not really the style I see this game going. Um, there was a comment here, I'll ask you from Brian says, "What's up, fellas? Kings Pacers under Rob. Do you think they're gonna score?"
It's obviously with me, it's my first reaction, as long as it's not placed in the 240s, to think over in this game. The Kings have been so ice cold, Ski. They were like 2-12 against the spread until they finally covered again. It kind of surprising that they went to Miami and won the way that they did. But you always feel, at least I always feel like with the players that they have, it is all offense, no defense. I think not having Sabonis is a big deal for this team because he's such a playmaker from the center position. All that being said, I still can't look at it any other way except over. Honestly, I don't know which side. I keep thinking that Indiana will begin to pick it up because they've gotten a little healthier over the course of the last 10 games. Straight up wise, they have. Against the spread, they have not. Totals wise, they've been about a 50-50 proposition over under. But if I was going to play tonight, I would look towards the over here. I just feel like 234.5 is a little light. Both of these teams more than capable against one another to get to the 120 mark. So I didn't play, but if I had to, in response to the comment there, I probably would look over.
That's how I would think. And the Pacers still have been playing better defense than the Kings lately. Offenses look better. I don't know. I'll trust the Pacers at home here. I know I don't like to usually lay with them, but it's either Pacers or over for me in this game. We'll keep going to the next one. That is Suns and T Wolves. Open -10, down to 8 or 7.5, depending where you shop. Total open 226, down as low as 222.5. Dylan Brooks questionable. Devin Booker, Jalen Green out. Terrence Shannon Jr. and Anthony Edwards questionable. It makes sense why this total is dropping. I mean, it's a lot of scoring you could miss, right? Without Booker, Brooks, and potentially Anthony Edwards. So just based on that, I can understand the move down. This is a Timberwolves team that I don't know. I mean, they didn't cover both of those games versus the Pelicans. I feel like this Timberwolves team has just really been struggling to cover in general lately. It's very hard to think of, why I'd want to lay the big number. I can understand no Brooks, no Booker, but if you also have no Ant, uh, it's just tough. I think under is how I feel best right now. What do you think about it?
Yeah, the injury list makes it hard on both sides. It makes it hard. But to your point, Minnesota's winning games, but they're not winning anything by margin. So again, I can see why people took the points right off the top because regardless of who's in the game, why would you want to lay 10 points with Minnesota right now? Yes, they're 5-0 straight up against straight up the last 5 games, but against the spread, that's only a 1-4. Kind of hard to do that, Ski. Be 5-0 straight up and 1-4 ATS. Just overvalued in the market right now. And I think it's mainly because defensively, they just give up points. There was a point in time last year or maybe even the year before where Minnesota, we thought they had turned the corner as a defensive team. This year has not been that year defensively for them. Looking at their team totals last 5, 4-1 to the over. Looking at their full game totals last 5, 4-1 to the over. It came on the heels of a huge under run. Kind of sporadic, inconsistent results for them. I would have liked to have played Phoenix here if all things were level, like if Anthony Edwards was playing and Phoenix had Brooks and Booker. I would have probably played Phoenix and taken points here because I just think that they give more 48 minutes of effort than Minnesota does. Minnesota's missing something at this point in time. Can't lay it. Kind of scared to take it with the missing Suns personnel. Maybe under is the right. I don't know. Sometimes when you get the big stars out of the way, the backups come in and score their share. Too tough for me to call. So I'll probably leave this one alone.
It is tough. I agree with you that if everybody was in Booker, Brooks, and Ant, I would be looking towards the Suns. It's just without Brooks and Booker, it's tough. So only logical thing to me is, in line with the market. If you're missing that much scoring, and both of these teams are playing at a slower pace right now, or at least last 5 games, I would agree that it should go under. Um, Brian asking about Phoenix first half to keep it close. It's hard to trust Phoenix, but I understand fade in Minnesota just because that's how they've been playing. They haven't covered the first half their last 5 games, so that I can understand. All right, last game in the NBA, Spurs and Pelicans opened up -10 for San Antonio, now 9.5, and the total hasn't moved. For the injuries, you have Cornette questionable, McLaughlin and Wemby out. Castle looks like he's back in the lineup. For the Pelicans, Herb Jones questionable. The other 3 guys, Murray, Poole, Zion, not going to be playing. This is one that I'm most interested in here today. I haven't played it yet, but I'm trying to find and I'm looking towards the Pelicans here. The Spurs team, the defense has just been bad for one, and I always say, how can I trust a team to win by this big of a margin if they can't get stops? This is the bottom 5 defensive rated team last 5 games. So really, really that's the basis for me wanting to find reasons to back the Pelicans. I look at the Spurs, they've only been this big of a favorite. They've been a favorite of more than 7, I think, twice this year. They didn't cover either one of them. Like, this is not the Spurs role. I know it's 9.5, but I know the Pelicans at the double-digit dog, they're 8-4 ATS. Like, that's been their role, especially here at home. So I wanna try to get there with the Pelicans. Um, Anything from you here, Vino? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think you can make that case, Ski, on a couple of added elements here. Real quick, working Castle back in and reintegrating him back into the fold. We usually say when a starter comes back, sometimes it's not as cohesive as it was prior to the injury. He was out for quite a while. But the second thing here, and probably the most notable thing, is the fact that the last 16 games that the Pelicans have played, they're 1-15 straight up. 1-15 straight up, you automatically think that team sucks, can't bet them, can't play them. But those 16 games, they're 10-6 against the spread. 10-6 is 62% covers, and they're all as underdogs, a big price like this one. So To your point about San Antonio not being very good defensively, the Pelicans playing this exact role almost every night they take the floor, big underdog, and covering, lose the game, but cover. They managed to stay close enough to be 10-6 against the spread. So I think that would be a real good basis for making a play on New Orleans. It's one of those where I know you like to call them dirty dogs, hold your nose, whatever you want to call New Orleans. They've been profitable, and I don't know why that changes. I mean, they've had their share of injuries all season long. They've learned how to play with the injured players out. So to me, probably plus the points would be the best way to look. Again, it's not something I played, so I won't fully recommend it or endorse it. But I would say if I'm going to play, it would be New Orleans plus the points.
Nice guy says Spurs have no big man. Teams have been going straight to the rim. I mean, Cornette is questionable. If he's not out there,
Right.
I mean, me and you, Rob, could go in there and get a couple
Let's
baskets.
go get a few buckets.
So I think 9.5 is a little bit too many points for that one. I'm looking towards the Pellies. All right, Vino. Talk a little bit of Eagles Chargers. Your neck of the woods, my neck of the woods. Not necessarily your team though, but it is my team. Open -2 for Philly. I'm seeing 2.5. Total open 43.5. Down as low as 41.5. So I'll start off and say this. I always say about the Chargers, they're not good against teams that can run the ball. And I do usually view the Eagles as a team that can run the ball, but they haven't been running lately. Like Saquon has like 23 carries the past 2 weeks. AJ's been crying. Now they're throwing the ball to AJ all game, and the Eagles just don't look good. If you try to pass all game on the Chargers, I don't think you're going to have success. That's just what it boils down to me. And also, the Eagles, do they have somebody injured on the offensive line? Lane Johnson, right? Or
Lane Johnson's out. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know that they're going to be able to run the ball even. Then I look at the Chargers side. The Eagles defense looked really good for a few weeks. That Bears run game, and the Bears run game is good. They just ran all over them. If Philly, I mean, they don't have also Jalen. Why am I blanking out? Is it Jalen Carter? Yeah, they don't have Jalen Carter. I mean, I can see the Chargers running the ball. I always say the Chargers, with their offensive line as it is right now, they can't really pass block very well, but they're good at run blocking. So I think the Chargers will run the ball. I do trust them to do that. I want to take the points plus 2.5, but maybe more than that. If both teams are running the ball, tick, 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 tick. Philly, my thought of Philly is like when they play on the road, they try to control, like, how do I say? They try to control, like, who has the ball the most of the time. Between that and just me, the game plan I view should be like just running the ball. I think under. The market did move it down. I think it's right. What do you think?
All right, so I played this one. It seems like we're pretty closely aligned here. Here's what I played. I played the Chargers team total over 20.5. And I played, this game is funny, the line movement, Skee, because I think some of it, first of all, the Eagles are a very public team. So they're always going to get money, especially in a standalone game. But secondly, I think people are kind of taking Justin Herbert's, injured left hand into too much consideration here. He played with that thing before the surgery last week. He played with it busted up and still threw the ball pretty effectively. Then he had the surgery this week, and it seems like the things are stabilized and the left hand shouldn't be a problem. But beyond that, the point that you hit is the reason why I played the game. Listen, if Philly got absolutely steamrolled in their front seven by the Bears offensive line last week, the Bears ran, and then they ran, and then they ran again. They ran for like over 200 yards. Nobody does that against Philadelphia. It was so crazy to see that happen. And now you're going to take their best run stuffer out of that mix. Jalen Carter, the shoulder operation out. And I immediately thought of Jim Harbaugh. He's a guy who wants to run the football to begin with. Herbert's got the bad left hand. Not that I think it's going to affect him any, but it probably makes Harbaugh want to run it even more now with Carter out. And Vidal looked great running the ball last game. You might get Omarion Hampton back. I don't know if he's been activated here for this game or not, but you might have a two-headed monster at running back.
I don't think so, but I hope so.
Even
as
if
a
he
fan.
doesn't,
Yeah, I like
feel
Vidal.
like, yeah, Vidal's been, I mean, he was a horse at Troy when he was in college, and he's becoming really good here for the Chargers. When they can run the football, they can play action pass off of that as good as anybody. The receiving crew is healthy. They've been improved. Chargers still have to win games, Skee. They're in like that 5 spot in the AFC standings where a couple of teams won yesterday, Jacksonville and somebody else that puts a little pressure on the Chargers to keep winning. The Eagles are in a more comfortable position. Nobody's going to push them for the NFC East title now that Dallas lost again. So to me, I thought LA's offense should have a lot of success here. I don't think the Eagles can fix what's broke in a week. The strength of that defense is that front seven. And if you weaken it the way the Bears did, I think the Chargers can do the same thing, honestly. And then, like you say, if the Chargers get on top, Skee, and Jalen has to throw to come from behind, not that he can't do it, but the Charger pass defense is one of the best in the NFL. So I chose to play Charger team total over 20. The Eagles have given up 24 each of the last 2 weeks. And then I took a shot with the Chargers on the money line. I just gave the 2.5 up and say, if the Chargers are going to be this close, they'll probably win this game. So those are the 2 ways I played it. The only 2 things I bet today between NFL and NBA. But I do like the Chargers here, and I think they'll score 21 or more in this game.
So that was the team total over 21.5, right?
20.5.
20.5. Okay.
They got to get to 21.
Interesting. So we agree on the side. I think the Chargers will score. I don't disagree. Chargers. I think I'm gonna think about this a little bit more, but
we like them in that underdog role, right? We don't want them as a favorite. No,
that's right. That's right.
The cross up, no way.
This is catching my attention. It seems kind of low. I mean, haven't been studying how many rush attempts he's been getting, but I would expect him to be running a lot tonight. 9.5 rush attempts seems pretty low.
Awfully low.
Yeah, so I'll look into NFL a little bit more as the day goes on, but you guys have my early opinions, my early thoughts. All right, Vino, that is what we're here to talk about for today. So I don't think we could put this up, right? Full court, all access pass, 3 days of NBA and college basketball for only $49. If you would like to be involved, and then we do have the longer term 1-year pass. You can get $500 off. Comes out to just $125 a month. And if you do purchase a 1-year pass, you get a 25% bonus coupon on top of that. So Vino, I will kick it over to you. Ask you if there's anything else you'd like to promote. And if you have a best bet for the show, we'd love to hear it.
Skee, I'm just quickly, while you were talking there, looking at the numbers. Vidal had 25 carries last week. That number is 9.5.
That's what I'm like. It seems off. It seems like almost that's a mistake. But
yeah, I'm glad they brought that because I don't play props all that much. I'm just glad that was brought to our attention because I might have to look at that myself, even though I'm not a prop player. Anyway,
it's low because Hampton is back.
Hampton is back. See, the potential for Hampton and the potential. I remember reading a quote this week from Omarion Hampton who said, "We're going to be trouble once I get back." And I took it as he thought that he was going to play this Monday night, and he's a big back. I mean, if the Eagles, we talked about the personnel up front, they could be in for a little bit of at least LA is going to try and pound it at them. Promotion, Skee, nothing to say here, really. You covered it pretty well. I know tomorrow we'll be able to talk $5 Tuesday and whatever new promotions are being brought forward. I do know that there's a package for bowl season, guys, bowl season right through the NCAA playoff championship game. WagerTalk has reduced the price. Last year, I will say, as far as the last 6 weeks of the season, which is what we're into right here, I was number 1 to close the season at WagerTalk last year. Usually pretty successful this time of year, so you can check out that package at WagerTalk.com. I'll go off the board here, Skee, because I didn't play NBA tonight, but I will go off the board to the NFL. And I think the Chargers are going to get to 21 here in this game. So I'm going to leave over 20.5. It was a client play today, guys. I'm going to use it as a best bet here for the show. LA Chargers team total up and over 20.5.
Good stuff from Veno. For myself, haven't made a bet yet, but I do really like that Pelicans plus 9.5. I feel like we talked about it quite a bit. They're also the number 2 fast break team last 5 games, going up against bottom 10 fast break defense. Spurs have been living in the mid-range. Pelicans, number 1 as far as mid-range field goal percentage allowed, and number 2 as far as mid-range attempts allowed. So should be able to, shut down a little bit of what the Spurs have been trying to do most and take advantage of them in the fast break. Combination of those things with lack of rim protection, no Wemby, could miss Cornette, getting Castle back in the lineup could throw off the rhythm of how things has been too. Spurs, like I said, and this hasn't been their role. Big favorites. Like they've only been a big favorite of more than 7, I believe, 2 times, haven't covered once. Pelicans as big dogs has been their role. So I'll take them here today. Plus 9.5. Looks like the best number I can get. And that will be my best bet for the show. Veno, always appreciate you taking the time to, go through the card and cap these games with me. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate you tapping in and bring your energy to the show as well. We'll be back again tomorrow. We'll have, I think there's a lot more games tomorrow. So best of luck on all your action tonight, and we will catch you all tomorrow.